One of the beauties of the modular setup is that you can take out the modules and rearrange them in any order that you want, and this allows you to optimize your cable lengths when trying to do specific patches. For example, in this setup here, I have placed the modules in my cabinets in such a way to do massive polyphony and multitimbrality. So as you can see, I can use quite a lot of very short 1-foot cables. For example, what we see here is 3 1-foot cables connecting our multiple to our MIDI interface, as you can see. And here we have one connecting from the output of our envelope generator into the state variable filter. And as you can see, we have 2 more here coupling the state variable filter into the amplifier. And down here we have coupled the output of an oscillator into a filter. So this has allowed us to document this fairly complex patch, which is going to use many patch cables, by putting on the longest and shortest cables needed in this arrangement. As you can see, we've used 3 5-foot cables, which are the green ones, because they're going from one end, one corner, to the other corner up there. And then we have quite a few yellow ones, which are the 4-foot lengths, which are going from quite a distance across the machine, as you can see. So the remainder of our polyphonic patch can be completed using 2-foot and 3-foot cables. And we're going to put on the 3-foot ones next, and finally the 2-foot ones, to have the complete patching arrangement for you. Now you might ask, how do we know where to put the cables? And this is a big thing for beginners in modular. We are arranging polyphony, so basically, essentially what we are actually wiring up on this system is about 5 or 6 voices. And as you will remember, a voice consists basically, in its basic sense, of an oscillator, a filter, and an amplifier, and 2 envelope generators. And we will show you that in a minute. But there is another video in the link in the description to show you how to set up a basic synth voice. So we have multiple basic synth voices, and we have just organized the position of our oscillators, filters, and amplifiers and envelope generators in such a way that we can readily accommodate these patching for these voices. This is channel 1 MIDI, and as you can see, for channel 1 we're using 2 oscillators mixed together. The mixing is occurring in the filter, the Q107 filter. The oscillator producing the sawtooth signal is going into the level input. There's one of the inputs on the Q107 has a level control, and it's going in there, and we're using the pulse one, the Q106 that's feeding in, is going in to the mixer that we have. We have that mixer that allows us to separate the channels. That is the mixer plus, and we have separated a couple of the channels, and we're just using the attenuator So as you can see there, the pulse wave is attenuated with that mixer channel, and then it goes into the other input of our Q107 that doesn't have an attenuated input. Now, as you can see here, in channel 2, the MIDI channel 2, we have pretty much the same thing, but now we're using the Q150 ladder filter, and both of the signal inputs actually have built-in level knobs. So as you can see, although we're using saw and pulse from two oscillators, just like we did in the channel 1, they're going directly into the two inputs of the 150. We don't need the extra level attenuator, so we don't have to use 1/4 of the Q114++ mixer to get that. And what I would add here about this one, which is the same as channel 1, is that both of these are using two envelopes, two Q109 envelopes, one for the amplifier and one for the filter, as you can see, as it's indicated there. And so that comprises channel 2. Now for MIDI channel 3, we have a little easier setup here. We're just using one oscillator, so we're only using the level input of the Q107, and the other one is left unpatched. And then we're only using one Q109, and that is the envelope generator, and we're just feeding the envelope both to the filter, and we're also feeding it to the Q108 amplifier. Down at the bottom of each diagram, as you look at it, you'll see that the channel of the Q112 mixer, which we're using to mix these parts of our polyphony together, it gives you the channel. See, it says that goes to channel 1 of the Q112 mixer. As you can see here, channel 4 is identical to channel 3, and we only have one Q109 envelope generator and one Q106 oscillator, and then one filter Q107 and one Q108 amplifier, and that goes to channel 2 of our Q112 mix. So you can study these patch diagrams. Everything is there, all the things you need to patch it. The 1 volt per octave input, the attenuated input. We're taking the low pass output of the Q107 as shown there, and we are sending the signal into number 1 input of the Q108, but we're sending the envelope into the number 2 input, control input of the 108. Now finally we come to channel 5 of the MIDI, and as you can see, we once again back to the two oscillator setup and the two envelope generators, with a separate envelope generator for our amplifier and another one for our filter, which allows some more complex sounds. And once again, our mixing is accomplished, just in case you didn't get it in the first one. Our mixing is accomplished by using the channel 2 of the Q114 mixer plus as a level attenuator. So we send the oscillator signal there, and channel 2 of our Q114 controls the level, and then the output from channel 2 of the 114 goes into the unattenuated signal input of the Q107. But as you can see, it's a fairly straightforward setup, and by rewinding you should be able to easily implement it. And it's pretty much a standard, and we're going into, this is channel 3 of the Q112 mixer. Finally, we show you how it is with all of the 2-foot and 3-foot cables. This is the total patch now, totally set up. And if you make an overall diagram of your modules, you can write on it what controls what, so that when you're actually mixing live, you will turn the right envelope generator knob or the right filter for the right channel. We've used channel 5 as the base channel, so that is why we wanted the more complicated 2 oscillator and 2 envelope generator patch. So we're using channel 1 and channel 2 for the melodies, and the a melody and a counterpoint, and then we have channel 5 as the base channel. We want it very complete. And then channel 3 and 4 are the simple channels in between, which we just use for the other voices within our normal Western style music. So I'm using the synthesizer here in the way that Walter Carlos did, except that we're playing it polyphony. So maybe not Walter Carlos, but Tonto. You think of the Tonto synthesizer, where you can build multiple voices because we have multiple modules. Now in this polyphony patch, polyphonic multi-timbral patch, we have, as I said, used quite a lot of oscillators, quite a lot of filters, quite a lot of envelope generators, and also quite a lot of MIDI modules. Each Q174 MIDI module gives us 2 MIDI channels, so we're in fact using 3 Q174s. We're using 8 envelope generators. We're using 8 oscillators, but we only need 5 amplifiers. We only need 1 amplifier for each of the voices. And then we need the 2 mixers, the Q114 and the Q112. Both are 4-channel mixers. We're mixing 2 of the channels in the bottom 2, 3 and 4. Channel 3 and 4 of the Q114 is configured as a 2-channel mixer, and that's feeding into the unattenuated input of the Q112, which has 4 channels but only 3 level knobs. So that gives us the 5 level knobs, the 3 of the Q112 and the 2 of the channel 3 and 4 of the Q114, and we're using the channel 1 and the channel 2 of the Q114 mixer plus as independent attenuators. So we feed both the input and the output, and we just gives us the level function. They're independent attenuators. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video where we'll hear some of the music, and we'll experiment with some of the sounds we can produce with this configuration.